Hi there, I'm Adam Kirbers and this is my novel, Listen. Today, I cannot get out of the bed. I don't feel like it. I don't want to stand up. I don't want to face the world anymore. This world outside, it has changed. It is different. As if I would have woken up overnight and wouldn't have grasped and understood what has happened. Something has changed, but I don't know why. I cannot wrap my head around it. I cannot go to work because I think that something is loose inside me. I would lose my control. I feel like my life is on a slant and I try to stand. I try to stand with both feet in my life like I have always done, like I've been used to. This is my success story. Everyone knows about this success story. And I always managed to get on my feet. I always managed to make things work out. But this is different. This is something I don't know. This is an area where I am new. Claire and the kids, Lily and Oliver, they don't understand. I myself, I cannot bring myself to understand. How should I ever explain it to them? What should I explain it to them? Maybe it's in the end just another midlife crisis. But it feels different. I think it feels different. It feels like something is lurking inside me. Maybe I pretended to be someone all this year, someone I don't know. Maybe it's all a sham. Could it be? Could it be that someone who wants to be someone else so desperately and sticks to this other person, to his life, that in the end he believes his own lie, that in the end he fully emerges and submerges in his identity. But then once he wakes up, once he gets up in the morning, he's shocked to see that there are some memories of another person, of someone who may have been there, someone you used to know once. My life, some sort of, it leaves me. It runs out of my hand, out of my fingers, like sand. I cannot stop it. I cannot stop this decline. I always thought that I would live a good and comfortable life. Life, this is what I have learned so far, is always difficult. If you want to get things started, if you commence something, then things get easier. They ought to get easier because you are on the way of success, because you have experience. You know what you should do, what is necessary in life, and you have all your remedies, all the remedies which are necessary for you to manage your life. So nothing can spook you anymore once you have reached a certain level in your life. But with this year, this is different. This is not how it's supposed to be. This is not that I'm in midlife, that I think that my life already is about to be lost. Lost to me, slip through my fingers as if it would have never really belonged to me. I try to stop time. This is my main prerogative. I want to stop time. I want to do something. I have to do something against it. This is how I worked myself up to find solutions to problems. But I've never applied any solutions, any thoughts to my problems, to my struggle. I've never thought about myself in that way. I never thought of myself as this whiny self doubting man. I was not psychological. I never wasted time on psychology. This was all murky to me, something beyond comprehension, something you should not waste your time with. In the end, it comes all to one thing, and this is brain power, your mindset. This is all what it depends. This is how I thought all these years, that those people who are not successful, who struggle, who don't know what to do with themselves, they are struggling because they have a weak mindset, because they don't have a purpose, a goal to go for. Everything else is just for people who want to make themselves important, get attention. And I said to myself, well, boy, you don't need attention. No, you get attention for those things you have accomplished. Let not your character or the person you are speak. No, let them see what you have accomplished. Do not talk about things, but show them what you have accomplished. And don't I have the finest home in the neighborhood? Don't I have a beautiful wife and a beautiful children? Haven't I accomplished greatness? And how remarkable this is, and who would have thought? But now through my stupidity, or I don't know why, now everything seems to slip out of my hand. What is going on? I don't know what is going on. Then I sit in bed. I stare at the ceiling. This is my home. So long, so far, it has been my home. Everything seems to be normal, and I assume that I have to get things together, and I have to get things together fast. In the morning, when I asked and told Claire that I want to have a day off, I don't feel well, she was understanding. She was suspiciously understanding, as if she would knew something was happening, or she was just nice, complacent. She didn't want to spook me, or she didn't want it to be spooked herself. Is this another thing? Maybe he has an affair, an issue, another girl. Claire's smile and understanding was almost complacent. Claire, she doesn't work. She is dependent on me. She is dependent on my money. Maybe she thought about these things all along, and now it struck her. Her husband has another girl. I wish I could tell her it's not true. I wish I could talk to her. Talk about these feelings. Talk about the fear when I walk straight ahead. About vertigo, even though I stand with both feet on the ground. What is this? And I think about Claire, that I want to be happy with her. Wasn't I happy all these years? Didn't I enjoy my life with her? Wasn't this enough? So what is the matter? I think and think. I ponder and ponder. Even thinking hurts. And I imagine what these people in the office might say. Isn't he a workaholic? At least this is what I think and want, that everyone understands of me, sees in me, and perceive me as a workaholic, a man you can trust, a man whose word is gold, a man whose word you can count on, who stands to his word and is predictable. This is all what business is all about. It's not about selling a fancy good or whatever. More and more I understand business is as well as about being predictable. People know you. People can expect what comes of you. People can trust your money in you, and people can trust that you will deal with their money, with their fortune accordingly and appropriately. So what will these people say about me? He has lost his mind. He is not on the right footing anymore. He is not the guy we thought he is. And I almost hear them. I almost vividly can hear their voices while they are talking behind my back, while they are chiding me. And some of them, and there are always some of them who then come forth and talk nonsense like, yeah, well, I have always known. It was his demeanor, it was his manner, how he acted around us. And I think that I have enemies. Of course I have enemies. I once heard a motivational speaker who was proud of having a lot of enemies. And he said that having enemies in the business world is a sign of success. This is something which proves that you are doing something right. There is not a lot you know that you are doing right. Business and making business is like taping in the dark. You know only after a while whether you will successfully manage something. Not in the beginning, not while you are experimenting, while you are still figuring things out. Whom you want to serve and who you want to be. And so I imagine everything would crumble down. Rumors would spread. What is he up to? He is not trustworthy anymore. And more I feel a bitterness and scared. And I'm scared. I'm scared that I would lose what I have. And I'm scared that this is my life. This is how people know me. People know that I have the fanciest home in the neighborhood. People know that I'm a trustworthy and decent person. What if they would not recognize me anymore? What if when people walk past me and they just don't care, they even look at me contemptuously, and I again go over all my recent assignments? What I fear the most is that I could waste someone's money, that I would misguide or even wrongly invest someone's money, that I could disappoint someone, so that this someone or this customer, this client of mine would then go ahead and talk badly, spread rumors and slander behind my back, and I would lose my great reputation. Of course, I was told, if you're a salesman, this is quite common that people, after they have talked to you, after you have sold them, and after you have convinced them about buying something, they go home, enjoy the good, but they haven't seen their bank account. They haven't seen their credit card records. So they mostly don't know how much they can afford, what they should spend on. And once they come home and see and perceive that they have spent money, too much money already, and that they are now in a dire case, or their credit card rating dropped, then they hate you, they despise you, and they try to figure out all the bad stuff about you, that something was off you. And this is normal. People hate you. This is something you as a salesman can never really try to mitigate get. There is some stuff you can, of course, mitigate the impact on these issues. You can convince your customer that when he buys a product, it is essential. It is like breathing, like inhaling air. Without it, you cannot accomplish anything. Without it, you are nothing. But however, there are a lot of sharks in the tank. Sharks who will and who want to sell their product as well. And they will as well try to convince their customers that what they buy and what they ought to be buying is essential for them. Without, they cannot do. And I think about this, that I would be in the end probably nothing more than an ordinary salesperson. Yeah, there was some guy here. People will probably talk about me. There was some guy here who lived here a couple of years ago, and then he went nuts. All these sleazy and shady businesses. I never believed him. I never thought he would come far, and he never did. And I would see, and I see their sneers and snickerings. So they enjoy my failure. Why wasn't I never prepared for this? I think about it. I have to think about the solution. And then at once, it strikes me. It strikes me like a lightning. Why haven't I thought about it before? Why hasn't it crossed my mind? Dr. Bernstein, the medical practitioner. He's not a friend, of course. He is well known in this neighborhood, and everyone in this neighborhood attends his service. Maybe it is all a disease. Maybe it's a tumor. And I feel somehow relieved that it could be something in my brain, that my situation is dire. Maybe it is something that hampers with me, or has been hampered with me all along. More and more I get convinced that this has been going on for years, and I haven't been aware of it so far. Maybe it's a disease. I get up, I am relieved. I'm relieved because I can now point at something, can identify something, try to figure out what is wrong with me. Maybe this is it. I sum up all the ailments I have. I cannot walk sometimes straight ahead. I feel vertigo, even though if I am with both feet on the ground. Some days I cannot set the foot in front of another. It seems like even simply walking somewhere, feels like walking on glass. It is unbearable. I hear screaming in my ears. Someone is screaming, and this scream, it seems like as if it would be coming out of my head. I feel a burning sensation. The first time I had it, I thought that I was having a heart attack. I felt like burning all over my body. And I felt like screaming. I felt like I could not breathe anymore. All this fire, all this smoke, it was all over me. It was inside me, in my lungs and everything. I could not say anything. Sometimes I cannot even utter anything, not even utter a word. I stutter. I struggle to bring out the word. And then I think about it, what I want to say, even though I know what I say, and I know what I want to say. It seems like that I don't get the words out. These all are serious issues, aren't they? They have to mean something. They have to mean something seriously. I've heard that people with brain injuries, they have all these ailments. I've been told that people who once survived severe brain injuries, even though everyone is cheerful and everyone thanks the doctors, yeah, well, thank you, you helped my boy or you helped my daughter to get on their feet. However, they actually never really recover. They have to suffer through a lifelong of ailments, of pain, of headaches, of dizziness, vertigo. It never ceases. And maybe something happened. Yeah, of course. I remember I used to drive a lot with my bike in my youth. And I was a rough driver, And maybe something happened. Maybe something I do not remember anymore. Maybe I hit my head. I bumped my head. Maybe something in my youth happened. And all these years, it was slumbering inside me. It was something inside me all these years, and I had forgotten about it. I hadn't thought about it. And I feel more and more convinced that this is something which has been inside me all these years, and I have suppressed it all this time. And now is the time. Now when I get older, now when I feel worn out, and this is some days I really feel like worn out, I feel like crushed, and I don't know how and why this is all happening. Maybe this all comes together. In my youth, I imagine myself, at least I perceive myself as strong, as independent, as someone who is ambitious, who has energy. This is how a young lad, a young boy has to be. And then later a young man profusing with ambition, unstoppably keen to accomplish something, keen to accomplish great. And haven't I accomplished great? No, I have to go to Dr. Bernstein. I have to tell him. And now it even feels easier to talk to someone. I'd assume something is wrong in my brain. I feel something. I've read about stuff. I don't dare to read. Somehow I don't want to read about anything. I don't feel the strength to read about brain tumors, because somehow I imagine this is, even though it might be lucky, this is sad as well. I could lose my life, despite the fact that I am relieved. Still, I think I could be separated by Claire and the kids. I could lose everything I have. And now I feel some sort of a bitter taste of unfairness in my life. Haven't I worked my ass off? Did I leave everything ever to chance? Now it could all slip away from me. I could die. This is serious. And my initial relief is some sort of hampered, weighs down. Now more and more I realize, if this is a brain tumor, if this is something serious, I would have been robbed of all I hold dear in my life. I'm close to tears. I want to weep. I don't remember whenever I have wept, when I have wept. Maybe somewhere in my youth. I don't know. I always kept things to myself. I always said to myself, well, if you weep, nothing is going to change. Tears won't soothe your pain. Nothing. And for nobody. Tears are for nothing and nobody. It never helped anyone, and it is rather girlish to weep. No, I have never wept. But now I feel like weeping. Now I feel like that this calamity, that it strikes me, that it weighs me down, and this is the most striking of it all, that I am not tied in my saddle, that I have fallen off the horse, maybe off the high horse. Maybe I was riding on a high horse, but more and more I realize my own weakness. I feel that I, as a man who had been thinking all these years that he is strong, he is robust, and that this is one key ingredient to be successful. And I always thought of myself that I'm probably one of the few quintessential successful men, that I could even be a role model. But now I struggle. Now I stumble, and I fell down. My belief in my invincibility is odd, and what will happen? But it is somehow excusable. My mind is in disarray. Maybe it's not madness after all. I think the worst thing that could ever happen to me is when people identify me as a madman, as someone out of his wits. I shudder. I shudder through all my body. I get goosebumps. Nothing worse would be if people would call me madman, insane. He's a lunatic. I couldn't bear these words. I couldn't bear people talking behind my back about this. And the worst thing is when my children would hear it. Would they ask themselves, will we have the same madness? Will we fall into madness like our dad? Is it all genetics? I try to remember whether my parents were all insane. I think a lot of my parents lately. It is painful. I more and more realize. I always thought that I had nice parents. I always thought that the great thing my parents did for me was that they did not abuse me. Because I've seen a lot of nasty stuff what children had to went through, the hell children had to went through. I was spared of it. Maybe I was lucky. I don't know. At least it doesn't feel like lucky. It is weird. It is weird thinking about my parents. It is weird thinking about my mother. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about my mother. I don't want to think about her. No. I want to think about Dr. Bernstein. I immediately rush to the phone. I make an appointment with the secretary. She asks me, what is your ailment? What is wrong? I stop for a while. I stop dead for a while. I haven't thought about a proper answer. I just come up with some random words. I have vertigo. I feel dizzy. I don't have a cold or something, yet I feel something is in my brain. The secretary sounds concerned, and she immediately gives me an appointment. I'm relieved. This went well. I always feared how difficult it would be to express this ailment to someone else. Will they look me up when they realize that I'm insane? When they thought that I'd be insane? they thought that I would be a risk for my life and as well as for the life of others, for my loved ones. Could I bear my wife and children look at me in contempt, drawing back, rebuffed by sick words I say when my face, and this is how many lunatics are when they cannot keep up their charade, when they cannot keep up their mask, and then after a while, after they get all exhausted, pumped up, drawn out, then their real faces emerge from behind this mask, and their faces then are distorted in an ugly way, in a stupid way, in an insane way. I always imagine that you can fathom and detect a madman, an insane person through his gaze, how the lunatic looks at you, and it is soul crushing. It destroys you. I could not face watching a madman, an insane guy, in his eyes for too long. It's like something you fear that you might catch, that you can caught as well. I'm on the way to Dr. Bernstein. More and more I feel things getting easier. I'm calm. I've calmed down. More and more I imagine, and I'm convinced that this will work out eventually, that I will eventually find a way. And even though it is a tumor, Claire, she will understand. Claire will probably be relieved. Relieved is not a girl, because I assume this is what women fear about. He has another girl. All this money, all his success went to his head. He thinks that he has accomplished all. This is probably what Claire thinks. I've never talked with her about my plans, about my success, about what I want to do in my life. I never told her that I actually want more of life, that I am not there where I'm supposed to be, that I have a lot of ambitions. Maybe I just want to prove to her that the husband she fell in love with, the husband who cannot get enough of her, that this husband has still a lot of ambition and will in him. Once he gets back on his feet, once he can grapple with this disease or whatever this is, what he's ailing at or what he's suffering from. I enter Dr. Bernstein's office. There are not a lot of people there. Well, this is for the well off. Dr. Bernstein comes in person. He greets me. We know each other, of course, and I assume that what I told the secretary is a serious issue. Could be brain tumor, whatever. Maybe all the symptoms I described are really known as something brain disease or whatever it is. Maybe this is why he came in person. He wanted to help me, wanted to ensure that everything is alright. I'm a special customer, I assume, or at least he wanna comfort me, or just soothe me. He looks at me. He looks sullenly, but yet his voice, his demeanor is comforting. I just love Jewish doctors. They seem to know the right remedy or the right treatment for every situation. Once my once I heard someone say, if you want to have a good doctor, get yourself a Jewish one. And I am thankful for Dr. Bernstein. He has an understanding thing. He again asks me about the ailments I've been suffering from. I talk about it, about these thoughts, about what I think it is, and I hope what it is. But the more I talk about it, the more I get scared. This is something serious, and I've wasted all my thoughts on insanity. I could have been earlier here. Maybe this is the last time, the last whiff of my life, this great life I still think I have accomplished. Maybe I should have come here earlier. Do not waste my time with stupid fears. Dr. Bernstein listens to my description. He advises me to make a brain tomography at once. He doesn't want to scare me. He knows his words, and he chooses his words carefully. He probably assumes that I'm in trouble. He doesn't see. Apparently, he's not aware that I feel some sort of a relief, and I would still feel a relief somehow. A relief if it is indeed a brain tumor. If he can find something that is wrong with me, something for which I could get a remedy, for which I could be healed of, because I am more and more confident. My ambition, my will, which has brought me so far, which has helped me to accomplish so much in my life, will help me to beat this disease. I'm sure of it. So I make this tomography. I still feel some sort of weird. It is weird to be in your skin. I don't know whether you can say this, whether you can describe the feeling, but it's sometimes it feels like that this body of yours, that this body you would be living in would not be yours. Of course it is yours. Of course you feel yourself through this body. You feel every touch. You feel people's smile. You feel people's smile, especially when they look at you, when they are thrilled to see you. You feel their smile on your cheeks because you respond to them. You some sort of feel loved or cared for, feel respected. Someone whom you see on the street who laughs at you or who smiles at you in compassion or in friendliness, is polite and so on. You feel their smile and you see that they look at you, they see your face, and you imagine they see your face in a certain way. They see you, the person you are. Maybe it is all a mask. And then sometimes you feel this is all not you, that the you are, the person you are, is some way, somehow deep inside you. It's not visible, that the body you have, the face you have, would actually not really represent the person you are inside. But here comes the catch. You don't know who you are. You still struggle to figure out who you are, where you belong to. But somehow things does not add up. And then you feel that this body of yours, this body with which you stand in the world, that it sometimes feels stiff, numb, as if you have been lying on it too much, as if it would have been distorted, as if it would not belong really to you. And you imagine that your body, your face is is molded by all your emotions, is molded by all the feelings, all the tears, joys, agonies and tragedies you have seen. Your face, some sort of reflects all these life experiences. Whether you have been laughing a lot, whether you have been frowning a lot, have been nervous a lot, have been going through hell a lot, or have lost your mind a lot, all seems to be written on someone's face, as if someone's life story would be visible on his face. You just have to see carefully. You just have to pay attention carefully. This is how it feels. But then I imagine my life story. I imagine what I went through. And I still feel a numbness. Is this even possible? That you feel a numbness of your memories? That you feel that something is missing? Is it normal that you do not remember a lot of your childhood? And I assume this is normal. No one talks a lot of the past, but occasionally I meet people who talk a lot about their youth, about past, and I always think to myself, well, how do they remember more and more? I realize my youth was actually a black box. I don't know much of it. I never bothered about it. Maybe the answer for this all, what is happening here, what is happening right now, is back in my youth, is back when I thought everything was right. Everything was in human scale. Who knows? What do I know about my youth? These thoughts. I'm actually not an overthinker. I always thought that thinking and thinking is only a waste of time. You could do something instead. You could accomplish something instead. And all the energy you waste on thinking, you should rather put into work. Because then I figured out once you commence creating something with your hands, thoughts and ideas come with it, come naturally. And then this is where your thinking has to be, where your thinking has to belong, while in the process of making, while you accomplish something, while you create something. This is how you have to keep your mind busy and do not waste it for nonsense. And this is nonsense, isn't it nonsense? Maybe this. And I'm thoughtful and I'm waiting for Dr. Bernstein. I'm waiting for his diagnosis. What will happen to me? I imagine how my life would change, how it would clear. And I'm convinced that once I am diagnosed with brain tumor or whatever, Claire would take care of me. We would rediscover our love. We would fall in love again, but this time it would all be different. It would all be special. We would discover life in a new form, in a new dimension, where we care for each other, where we are there for each other, where we see the specialness, where we understand the value of life. We will have understood it because of the fear and of the threat that we could lose it, that the precious thing we have is only precious while it is living, and that plans you make, plans for the future, plans who may be out of reach, but yet you still cling on them, that while you are making all these plans, that you forget to live in the present. And I imagine that with Claire and with the kids, a new chapter in our life would be opened, where we would feel ourselves differently, maybe feel ourselves at home in our bodies, feel ourselves fully through our bodies, and in our faces would be written the experiences we have as a family, we have as being together, having walked through hell, having survived hell. Dr. Bernstein approaches me, he looks at me, he's thoughtful, but still he's friendly, he tries to be nice. He says they did not found anything. They haven't found anything. Everything seems to be alright. And I'm shocked. Shouldn't I be happy? Shouldn't I be joyous? Shouldn't I be over the top? But I'm not. Everything is fine. He says to me on the tomography. And I'm crushed. Now this is serious. More and more I feel this fear, and I struggle to breathe. It feels like that something is squeezing my throttle. I cannot think clearly anymore. I cannot say what this is all about. I'm speechless. I try to fathom something, fathom a string, try to focus my eyes on it, try to grasp a straw that maybe or may not be help me to survive whatever it is. It should help me for a while. This is how desperate I am. I'm struggling, and I know if I would get up, I would probably fall down. I don't feel even the strength to stand up and walk out. This was all an embarrassment. More and more I understand that I have wasted someone's time, that Dr. Bernstein, who probably has a lot of patience who has to take care of him, people with serious ailments, people who are struggling, people who have maybe cancer, and they have been robbed of Dr. Bernstein's precious time. They now probably look at me, and I imagine their faces. Do not waste our time. And I hear for the first time in years, I have a memory of my childhood when my dad told me, don't waste our time, boy. Do not waste our time. Our time is precious. And I imagine that I have wasted now the time of someone whose time is precious. With my stupid ailments, with my hallucinations, with my midlife crisis. How stupid I feel. I do not even dare to look at Dr. Bernstein's eyes. I feel crushed. I want to get out of here, but I fear that when I stand on my feet, that I will probably sack down like the stupid man I am. And I imagine that Dr. Bernstein probably will assume that I'm a faker, that I want to stay away from work or whatever. And these things becomes even more embarrassing for me. I think about it, whether I should talk about confidentiality, that I would again ensure myself and my conscience that Dr. Bernstein will never talk to anyone about it, especially not to my wife. I don't want to make her listen to this. I don't want her to hear anything about this, about her husband, who is probably going insane. Dr. Bernstein, what a friendly, nice man. He still is very professional. He tells me, well, this means nothing. it could be a serious ailment, but I heard doubts in his words. If you can't see anything in the brain scan, then it is psychological. I know that. I'm well aware of it. I've read something years ago. I don't know why. I know why I read something like that, because I never cared about psychology, but I know this article quite well. And this article said that you cannot detect insanity on brain scans. You cannot see them. So they are in your brain. They are somewhere. They are just imagination. Where is the place of imagination? Yeah, they are probably there. And I imagine this article. And I imagine it very well. And now it all comes back again where I have wasted the time of someone who is a professional, who does not look down on me, but yet we all know what is in the room. I even feel stupid that I have described all my ailments in detail. Now he probably has already a profile about me. What is this man? How insane is he? How far is his insanity progressed? Will he run through the streets naked, yell stupid things, and will people laugh about him, about what he says? And I'm crumbled. All my self-confidence, everything I have built upon so far, everything is coming down. All means nothing. My beautiful home, my wife, my children, my social standing, the community who look up on me. And now I feel like I failed them. Now I feel like all these years I have only pretended to be someone I am not. And now at once in the morning I woke up with a different feeling. I still am in the house of this other person. I still live the life of this other person, but I somehow have forgotten how to be this other person. I cannot pretend to be this other person anymore. Like the mask falls up or falls off all this time. Like an insane madman who could keep it together, who could stick to a normal face, who could make people deceive and make them believe that he is quite right, that he is sane. But the longer it lasted, all these years, the longer it wore down, it wore out, it was washed out, and more the beautiful facade is cracking, and one sees the snickering, stupid and insane man behind it, who has been hiding all these years, who has been hiding behind this face, who has been hiding in plain sight. Now he's visible to everyone, and I see more and more that Dr. Bernstein got a glimpse of this man, this sick man, this man who described him, his ailments, what he's suffering from in detail. I feel naked. I feel stripped down. I feel that Dr. Bernstein knows more about me than he ought to know. This is not how things should happen. And now I feel really ashamed of myself. Because when did I ever share private things? Didn't I learn this from my parents? I try to remember when my parents told me, do not share any private matter with the world. No one cares. I hope and try to think about whether, when and whether my parents ever said things like that to me. But I can't make it out. I don't remember. Maybe they have, or maybe they don't. But I think that this law you should abide with, is a very true and ancient law. And I imagine someone must have told me, or it was always in my brain, you do not share private matters, or you will end up like me here, as being embarrassed. How many people will know about this Willie? Dr. Bernstein talked with his secretary, even though there is a doctor-patient confidence, even though, but he might talk to the secretary, he might tell her, and what then? And she might tell to anyone she knows, and then the entire city will know about it, and they will laugh at you, they will mock you, they will deride you, you will be a laughing joke, they will call you the madman, they will call you the insane man, you are out of your mind, you are nuts. And I feel cold sweat. I need to get out of here. I'm thankful to Dr. Bernstein. He advises me that I should make some further tests. This could be something serious, but I dare not look into his eyes. This is just too embarrassing. I need to get out of here. I approve. I just nod. This is all I can do. I will make some further inquiries. I will look into it, but I know very well that this was a mistake, that I have to leave here. Leave at once and never ever come back. I walk out of Dr. Bernstein's office. My treads are heavy, my feet are heavy. I'm dragging myself out of the office, and I'm struggling to keep it together. I don't want to fall down. I don't want to stumble, because I fear once I fall down, once I am toppled, I will never be able to get up ever again. I will be crushed, and every tread is painful. It is probably the struggle of my life. I have to fight for every tread. I have to fight for progress. I have to fight to walk to my car. I feel weak. I feel down. I feel crushed. I cannot carry this burden anymore, and I don't know where I should go next. I have lost all senses for direction. I have lost any goal. I have lost any ambition I had. Now I'm totally void. I'm devoid.